spend some time around this organization, the people of this organization, you'll see the passion. You'll sense something living. You'll sense the spirit of the people that is moving, that is making things happening, that we are encouraging and energizing one another. And this is where we are. It's the American Association of Blacks in Energy. You will feel the energy. You will feel the passion. So this is a living, breathing organization.
Nowhere else do you have a whole panoply of African American energy professionals, from the entering engineering associate to a CEO of a company. And we're all here for one purpose, and that is to make sure that energy policy reflects the needs and concerns of African Americans and other minorities.
So we have a responsibility. So we have to recognize that responsibility, expand that with everyone who comes in this organization, and then insist that we're responsive to our community. So those are the challenges we have. But I think, again, we have an opportunity for 30 years growth in the next 10 years because of what we've been able to do over the last 30 years.
When AABE takes a position on whatever the matter might be, people look up and take part because they know that is a strong, viable organization that represents a significant portion of this country. And it's an organization that should be heard because you're listening to the people, and AABE membership represents the masses of people across the country.
Really stay close to the Founding Fathers, their original intent, and learn from those people that have gone before you. Because that's really the only way we make it to the top, is by taking the knowledge and the wisdom of the people that have gone before us, and then adding our own little flavor and really making a difference. And that's how generations advance, when you take and learn from those that have gone before you.
Probably, at least from my perspective, Rufus McKinney was one, he's sort of our godfather. I mean, he was really the soul of our organization, and he's the guy that made sure we were always standing on our feet and not tilting or not moving away from what ought to be the primary interest, both on behalf of the association, but also on behalf of our people. And he was the one, I think, who was able to sketch out the way that those of us who work for these corporations could be both loyal to our employer, but at the same time maintain adequate support and commitment to the interests of black folk.
We want people to be associated with our organization who have the capacity to articulate for black men and women that they come in contact with a perspective on the energy issues that goes beyond themselves as mere consumers of energy. We want them to understand that energy is the fuel that keeps this economy going. It's the engine which generates the jobs, the growth, the expansion that is so essential to creating opportunities for people who have been excluded. And in that sense, you have an interest in what happens in energy, not just in terms of what the price of gasoline is, or what the price of natural gas is, or what the price of electricity is. You have an interest also in ensuring that energy is, first of all, affordable to people of ordinary means.
I'd like to see an organization of African American energy professionals that is 10,000 strong. I'd like to see an organization that is held up not just by the African American community or the Congressional Black Caucus, as important as they are, but by Congress and the community in general as the expert on energy issues.
There's many, many more things to get done. There are many more challenges that we have ahead of us. So I think as we stop and ponder the successes of this 30 years, we should also, in the same thought and or breath, recognize that we got 30 more years at least of work to get done. And I don't want to stop with this celebration and say we've gotten here, it's done, now let's move on to something, maybe different. There are some hardcore values to this organization that this founding fathers had in mind when they brought this thing together. So let's not stray too far away from that. And I think there needs to be a period where we just sort of stop, and maybe now is a good time. And let's check to see how far away from the original intent of our founding fathers are we. And I think on a periodic basis we ought to do that. Whenever we're in the middle of these discussions about the direction, we ought to just stop for a second and think about what was the original direction? How far away are we from that? So I think it's time to do that, and I hope that we do that on some regular basis.
It's about energy, but it's also about a group of people that love one another, that care for each other, that want to make a big impact in this life for themselves, for their communities, for their families, for the city, for the country, for their corporations. These are people that care and that want to leave a legacy behind. And they touch and shape the future by mentoring, by offering internships, by being there, and by bringing people up.
When you come to an AABE meeting, you feel all equal. You feel that, what I say matters. Someone wants to hear it. It's important.
And you have real friendships that were established as a result of being a part of the organization.
You're excited about being a part of such a loving, caring, knowledgeable organization.
This organization not only feeds my intellect and my career growth, it feeds my soul.
You know what? Thank you. Thank you, Clark. Thank you, Rufus. Thank you, Bob. Thank you, Mary. Thank you for doing this, because what you have done has impacted our lives in all sorts of ways.
And so, having been there at the conception of AABE, seeing it at this point in its history, is just a satisfying, gratifying feeling that is very difficult to explain. I'm just pleased, I'm happy, and I'm very grateful. And so I want to wish for AABE all the best on this 30th birthday, and hope and pray that there will be at least 30 more, and another 30 after that, and on and on and on. Happy birthday, American Association of Blacks in Energy.